The number one wealth secret exposed. And I know, a lot of people will be very adamant in saying that we know exactly what you're going to talk about, Sot. Probably, maybe. Who really knows? The point is that I think this is probably the one of the most overlooked things. It has to do with a lot of things. It has to do with lack of education. It has to do with lack of, I would say, self-esteem. And then I'd even go so far as to say ego. How so? We'll get into it. This is the foundation where we understand incorrect information incorrectly applied can get you hurt. Correct information incorrectly applied can get you hurt. So we are always correctly applying correct information here at the foundation. What I want to get into today, this evening, this afternoon, morning, whatever have you, is this secret. This secret. And I've alluded to this many times. But, I just think we'll get into it. So make sure you check out welcome to thefoundation.com. Sign up for the email list. It's right there on the front page. We have some things going on, and I think it's only right that those who have subscribed to the email list are privy. That's all I'm going to say. But we appreciate you a ridiculous amount. Today, silver is at $68.44. It's going to continue to, I would say, decrease in, quote, value in relation to the dollar, the United States dollar. But I think that's good. It's a buying opportunity. Dollar cost average. $20, $50, $100 every 2 weeks, every month. Go grab some silver. Fractional is beautiful. And pay a little extra, You get a quarter ounce of silver and you multiply that 1/4 ounce by 4. That's probably going to be a little more than you would pay for an actual full ounce of silver. That's just how it goes. It adds up, it stacks up. It's just don't think about it and just keep doing it. Next thing you know, you'll have to let it be normal. But look, how will the wealthy families use trust to protect and grow their wealth and pay less taxes? Oh, it's illegal. It's a scam. Okay. And I know that there are people doing illegal things with trust. And I know there are people who are scamming people with trust. I know that for a fact. Absolutely. But here at the foundation, we know nothing of what you speak of as far as like illegalities and scammeries. Perhaps you've heard about trusts and know that wealthy families and their highly paid advisors know when and how to set up trusts to protect and grow their wealth and save on taxes. If you are curious about how trusts work, let's get into this because there are some spots. The Rockefeller trusts passed the bulk of the wealth or of his wealth to his heirs when he set it up in 1934, now entering its 7th generation of beneficiaries. That's amazing. With more than 170 heirs, the Rockefeller family was estimated to have still enjoyed an $11 billion fortune in 2016. In 1945, Sam Walton bought his first retail store. From this humble beginning, the great Walmart business empire ensued, creating over $170 billion for the Walton family. Sam Walton died in 92, and his wealth at the time was estimated to be around $10 billion. Due to smart planning, use of trust, his family continued to benefit from his legacy as the Walton Enterprises and Walton Family Holdings Trusts own half of the retailer. Oh, and then put the business in the trust. No. Okay. And then you have to understand, I would say this. For most wealthy families, fame is unfortunate. Absolutely. But please understand that there are way more wealthy families that you've never heard of and will never heard of than there are that you have heard of. It's just the obvious ones. And generally, these are, I mean, they're obvious, if that makes sense. As illustrated by both these examples, one of the reasons to set up trust is to protect wealth on a multi-generational basis. Instead of giving money or wealth directly to the next generation of the family, founders create trusts and give some or a substantial portion of their wealth to the trust instead. This can have many benefits, including protecting the wealth from dissipating more quickly through mismanagement by heirs who may not be as sophisticated as the founder. Depending on their terms, trust can also protect the beneficiaries from losing assets to subsequent lawsuits or divorces. Why? Because they don't own it. You divorce me, doesn't matter. I don't own this house. You're not going to get the house. Doesn't matter. It's not mine. I don't own it. It's owned by a trust. Lawsuits, you sue me all you want. I don't own anything. Of course, I have control over things through contract, but therein lies the issue. If you have control over that office that you preside in, does that mean you can take the desk in the office home without there being some sort of issue? Because that's the case. That's the absolute case. And this is how wealthy families, this is how wealthy families get wealthy. First of all, you have to keep what you make first, and then with sophistication and administration, grow the wealth over time. Let's go to another one. Wait. I want to make sure. Key steps. Trust man uses pros and cons. Nope, that's not it. Ultra wealthy use trust to pass on wealth and motivate their children, and so can you. Let me just say subscribe. Oh, they blurred it out. Hold on. There we go. Wealthy people have long used trust to stash their money and pass it to the next generation. That includes billionaire Rupert Murdoch, whose trust is making headlines as his family battles for control of his media empire. But it's not only the ultra-rich who can take advantage of what trust can offer. According to attorneys and wealth managers, trust makes sense for all types of estates and are gaining popularity with the middle class too. To understand how trusts work, it's helpful to know their main purpose is to ensure your assets go to the people you intend or stay in the trust. How about that? Trust can also help estates avoid probate, a legal process that can take months or even years, and in the case of the ultra wealthy, they can help avoid estate taxes. A trust comes into being when the creator, known as the grantor, transfers assets into the trust and then names a trustee whose job is to ensure the grantor's wishes are followed before and after her death. There is no specific income level when it makes sense to start looking into trusts. Did you guys hear that? There's no specific, it's only for people with a lot of money. No, it's not. How do you think people get to where they have a lot of money? Quote, money. And it's not, well, this athlete, there's certain people that generate income, but doesn't mean that they keep it. I can make $100 million a year, but if I spend $99 million and $999,000 a year, it doesn't matter. I kept $1. You understand what I mean? We at the foundation don't care how much you make. We are concerned with how much you keep. That said, for those whose finances are fairly simple, say someone wants to split their, no, let's move on. Everybody needs to have an estate plan. Trust can be a motivational tool. Here you go. Trusts are two main types. So here we go. Typically, you can't change or amend irrevocable trusts after they are formed, though there are some circumstances you can do so by getting a court order, but that is if the court, has jurisdiction, whereas, there are a lot of trusts where the state courts don't have jurisdiction over them. So, man, I think I lost it. Families that don't have much wealth, they should have a revocable trust. You can put in your house title, in your investment accounts, your bank accounts. Irrevocable trusts are more complicated. Typically, you can't change or amend them. Yep. While you give up control after the trust is formed, you have complete control beforehand to dictate not only who gets which assets and when, but how they get them. To determine what type of trust makes sense for your situation, you need to think about the purpose. There are many types of irrevocable trust. Look, check this out. Let's move on. Why trusts are an essential tool for wealthy families. This is all over. But at the same time, you can see a whole bunch of stuff that deals with trust being scams and illegal and all this. Man, it's just, But, hey, people don't scam people. Wait, trusts don't scam people. People scam people, right? Using trusts. What is a trust? We know that. Encourage financial independence. Why consider a trust? So it encourages financial independence. Instead of giving your child an inheritance to do with it as they wish, you can establish a trust so that the professional or the trustee can manage the assets on their behalf and ensure that your child has enough money to meet their daily needs and expenses. There's tax treatments of trusts, right? Families also look to trust to help minimize taxes since the assets placed in the trust are not part of your estate. Although rules differ by province. Hold on, what is this, Canada? Still, tax will need to be paid. If you set up a family trust during your lifetime, you will have to pay tax on any accrued gains. Understand what accrued gains are. When you transfer your assets into the inter vivos trust, which is a living trust, wouldn't do that. What? There's so many different ways to do this. With proper planning, once the assets are in the trust, any future growth can be taxed in the hands of the beneficiaries when they receive the distributions from the trust. Right. Or the trust indenture can just have, contractual requirements to maybe not disperse to beneficiaries with cash, which creates a taxable event. There's other things that can be done. Estate planning. Let's get into this one. Estate planning insights. Success stories. We got the Rockefellers in here. Hearsts are in here. The Gettys. I did want to say about the Hearsts. The Hearsts chose not to pass his fortune directly to his children and grandchildren. Instead, he formed a board of 13 trustees comprised of 5 family members and 8 current or former Hearst Corporation executives to manage the trust. This trust not only owns and oversees Hearst Corporation, but also makes annual distributions to Hearst descendants. The structure of the trust, along with its management and distribution mechanisms, is shrouded in secrecy, adding a layer of protection for the family's assets. Has to be a private contract trust, not a state trust. There's no secrecy in those things. Despite individual heirs encountering legal and financial issues, right? Legal and financial issues, the Hearst Trust has continued to provide for them, effectively safeguarding the family fortune from potential losses. That's the thing right there. If you by yourself or with your spouse or a team or a partner or whatever, completely pay off an asset, whether it's a home, it's a car, and a sport utility, whatever it is, it's an asset, and there's no encumbrance, there's no loan, there's no mortgage, nothing. The name of the game is to get it out the name. And when the name I mean is the name of the individual, what you consider your name. That's the name of the game, is to get it out the name. That's the name of the game. Is to get it out the game. To get it out, get it off the board. Get it off the board. Get it out of there. You got to look at it like this. What your job is to do is to go into the public, grab assets and value, and bring it home to the private. The individual is the public. It's created by the state. It has a social security number. It files state and federal returns. It gets sued. It goes through probate. It's not what you think it is. The name of the game is to get it out the name. The name of the individual. The name of the game is to get it out the game. The assets, the value. This is it. To get it out and keep it out. And how do you do that? You do that by titling it in trust, or exchanging it into trust, or donating it to the trust, or gifting it to the trust, or however you want to do it, because there's many different ways, and you need to know what you're doing, because I don't know what I'm doing. I could be crazy. I'm not a lawyer. I don't give tax advice, nothing. You need to know what you're doing, but there's so many ways to peel an orange. You can peel the whole orange with your pinky if you want. I'm serious. Just think about it. Think of all the different ways you could peel an orange. A lot. So there's so many different ways that you can administer trust. And what I'm saying is the acquiring of assets. If for wealthy, and like you got to understand, wealthy people aren't necessarily smart. You don't have to be smart to learn how to do something. You just got to be generally motivated to follow the directions that were taught to you, the movements. It's not rocket science to drive an automobile, to drive a car or an SUV or whatever. It's not rocket science. You just need to learn. So, people take these situations, this wealth, these types of people, and put them so far outside themselves that you don't and probably won't ever acknowledge the fact that you are the same and you can do the same thing. And it's just, in order to go somewhere you've never gone, you got to do things that you've never done before. It's that simple. It's that simple. And not just willy-nilly say yes to everything. You have to use discernment. You have to be responsible. But what's the difference between a Mercedes or a Ford? Hold on, a Charger. What's the difference between a Charger in the name of an individual or in the name of a trust? Well, if anything happens to that individual, if that individual is sued, that individual passes away untimely without a will or anything, there's all types of let's go back to this one. Cautionary tales. Jimi Hendrix, despite his fame and wealth, tragically passed away at the age of 27 without any form of estate plan. No will, no trust, no estates, nothing. As a result, his estate was distributed due to the laws of intestacy. Intestate, you die without a will. There's no will. And his $66 million estate was inherited solely by his father. Hendrix was close to his brother Leon, though. Yet Leon received nothing when their father later passed away and left a will that excluded him. The control of the Hendrix's estate eventually passed to his stepsister, man, out of the bloodline. Stepsister. These are the tragedies right here. These are and I like to speak positive, but these are the tragedies right here. This stuff right here. And if you were really close to your brother or your sister, or you have and you know that you're gonna take care of him or her. She's been with you the whole time. Y'all fly everywhere together. Whatever it is, you die untimely. You pass away untimely. And your will with regards to what you created was lost. And it's up to someone else's will and their whims and emotions and stuff. I'm cool. No. And it's too much energy, effort, suffering, joy, to just leave things, of value like that. And that's why, that's why we say the foundation of this whole system is trust. The Constitution is a trust. Do your research. This whole thing, commerce, lieges, all of this stuff is based on trust. And corporations are just private trusts converted to public corporations so the state can govern them and tax them. Private trusts are not governed by the state and they're not taxed by the state. So, you get a house, another house, another house. Pretty soon, 3-4 houses in the same. And no one is excluded. If Leon were a beneficiary, or better yet, a beneficiary and trustee of his brother Jimmy's estate, he would not have been excluded. He would have been taken care of. These are the things that most people don't think about. I've dealt with enough death in my life to know that this stuff is very important. And beyond that, we need to respect our life, respect ourselves, and respect our energy. Because, we're frivolous with our energy. We're frivolous with our, quote, possessions, and frivolous with our assets over an extended period of life. And we have heirs, we have responsibilities. Even if you don't have children, you have nieces, you have nephews, you have people that look up to you, depend on you. And it's either your will or the will of the statutes of the state of whatever. And listen, that, and I think, pretty much just the way I kind of broke it down, is the number one wealth secret exposed. It's multi-generational. And the name of the game is to get it out the name. I trust y'all learned something. Enjoy yourself. Take care of yourself. Say 10 things that you're thankful for before you go to sleep tonight and every night. It's very important. And I'll catch y'all tomorrow on Current Events, y'all. Peace.